Hello everyone, and here we are at the preparation phase, except we're not, because in the first actual turn that you do, you don't have a preparation phase, you go straight to the wasteland phase. But we're going to do a sort of half one. Essentially during setup, that was like the preparation for the first turn, but normally you would have a preparation phase and you'd do things like, you know, heal up, swap stuff out. Perhaps you'd discard some of your luck cards to get some healing or whatever, or get some extra ammunition, all that sort of stuff. But what we'll do is we'll just quickly look at a few bits and pieces, and I'll go through the plans for the turn. So we're playing cooperatively, and Slicer Takeda is going to be going first because he's the first player. Now, one of the good things about Slicer is his talk. He gets 4 dice for a talk test. Now, one of our private tasks is money, money, money. With the steel traders who are losing the caravans on the route. In order to pick up this card, we explore Cerbero Pharmacies and we do a talk 9 test. Now 9's difficult, that's why it's sort of like got red on it. So remember, we've only got 10-sided die, so we need a 9 or a 10 to take this card. So Slicer's the man for the job. He's the talker, he's the diplomat. So we're going to send him to Cerbero Pharmaceuticals, or sorry, Pharmacies, to get this card. So he is going to be doing that particular private task, or trying to do it anyway. So he's got the best talk, so he's the man for the job. He's got a strider, so 1 fuel will give him 4 sort of movement. So that's why I've quickly come over here just to have a look. We'd normally do this in the preparation phase, so this is a bit of like a shortened preparation phase, if you like. So that is why he is going to do money, money, money. Let's go to the board and let's see him plot out his route. And here we are with all the gang. So here he is, here's Slicer Takeda, and he has got to get to Cerbero Pharmaceuticals, which is up here. Now, when he moves, the first move, whatever he makes, he will draw, the waster will draw a wasteland card. We've got to play at least 1. Now, if he goes through these hexes that have got skulls on, the waster will draw another card for how many skulls you get. The waster will then make a decision based on whatever card it is to say, right, I'll play this card. He only plays 1, so depending on your route, he could have quite a few to choose from. But whatever hex you move into first, you will always get a wasteland card. So nobody will ever move anywhere without getting a wasteland card. So you've got to bear that in mind though when you plot your route, because the more cards that the waster picks up, the more choice he's going to have, and you want to keep that choice down. So wherever possible, you really want to keep the waster to only pulling 1 card, and then you can just hope that it's a good one and you can get away with it. So bearing that in mind, he's got to get from Gangrene here up to Cerbero Pharmacies. But just before we do that, I've just remembered something else I wanted to discuss. Because we're playing cooperatively, what we could do now, obviously, is, because you're not worried about these other characters zooming off and getting the jump on you, we could just have everybody stay in Gangrene, couldn't we? And we could like trade away, you know, our starting equipment for weapons or whatever, for better stuff, and we could do that for 2 turns, then set off. Well, that's not allowed either. That's in the way I'm going to play it, that won't be allowed. We will be able to buy stuff at Gangrene, but not on the first turn. So you have to move away and come back, and then it will be fine. So the way I'm playing it is, all that starting equipment that we got, the rad out and the extra ammunition and the medi-shot, we got those in Gangrene, and essentially the shops are empty. So Gangrene, we've emptied Gangrene, and now we're going to go out adventuring. So that's just to explain that, in case anybody was watching thinking, well, why don't you just say gangrene, you know, and buy a load of stuff. So that's not allowed. Right, back to Slicer's go. So he only really wants to spend one fuel, and he wants to avoid more than one wasteland card. So he can actually get up here on his Strider and only spend one fuel. So here we go. He spends 2 to move on to there, 3 to move on to there, and 4 to move on to there. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, what happens is he starts his movement. So he gets on his Strider and he moves here. Now that is the first hex that he's going on. So we draw the Wasteland card. And the Wasteland card he gets is, oh, this doesn't look good, Furball. So this is a beast enemy. See the little icon. And this combat starts at short range. During the first class you cannot play the change range combat card. That's grim. If we want to avoid it, we need a survival 9, which is a red. That's difficult, yeah? If we actually combat it and win, we'll get 1 reputation and we'll get 1 yellow gear card. Yeah? Now, if we try and avoid it and fail, what happens is we will take a wound. So we'll automatically take a wound, but we will get away. So it's sort of running off, we'll get a wound. In some occasions you get more than 1 wound. I'll have to check that. But we've got a Furball, and we've got to make a decision as a waster when are we going to play it. And the reason why we've got to have a think is we can either play it here straight away, we can play it here when he moves to here. Yep, there is no skull on here, so we could play it here, or we can wait till he gets here and draw another waster card, and that's what we're going to do. So we're going to keep that one in reserve, the Furball. That is a possibility. Wherever put it there. So the Furball is a definite possibility. And then we pull another one for when you got to Cerbero Pharmacies, and this is called Shellaby. Right, this doesn't look very nice at all either, does it? It looks like some sort of tree that's come alive. If you fail your escape check, you must immediately mark all your available gear cards. That doesn't sound very nice. So again, this is a survival 9 check. If you combat it and win, we will get a reputation and we'll get a red gear card. This is a beast, and it also looks like it's a mutant. Yep, so it's a beast and a mutant, I believe it is. So if we needed to kill a beast enemy and we needed to kill a mutant enemy, then this would be the card for us. So as the waster, we've got to have a look at these 2 cards and decide which one we are going to play on Michael. Now, this is a special hex, so we're allowed to play it on a special hex. If he was finishing in a city, we wouldn't be able to play it. But he's not finished in a city, so we're going to play it. He's either going to have a Furball or he's going to have a Shellaby. Right, so let's have a look. Well, they're both pretty nasty. So that's got 6 health. It's got 2 armor as well. It's armor piercing. This one looks tougher. This one looks tougher, which is probably why you get a red gear card. So the Furball, we're going to get rid of that. We're not going to play that. It's a nasty card, but we've got a nastier one. So we are going to play the Shellaby. Now, what is Slicer gonna do? Well, I don't fancy his chances of taking it down. For a start, he cannot. I don't think he's going to be able to beat it. It's going to start at medium range. So let's have a look at his card. He could play change range or the defend card, and the opponent's attack checks will suffer -1 die. Now, his blade attacks gain armor piercing. So, is he going to fight it or isn't he? Let's have a think. Okay, I've zoomed in a bit while I had a think. A good 10-minute think, so you haven't missed anything. It's just me standing here silently and wandering over to his player board. One thing that he had to do, and he has done, is he's moved down his fuel to 3. He has used a fuel to get to Cerbero Pharmacies. I had a look, and fortunately we've got something that will help us. He has a luck card. So he has the piece of cake luck card before any skill check, and your skill check is automatically passed. This card cannot be played to pass a combat check. Yes? So he's not going to combat the shalobi, but he is going to evade it. So his survival 9 check that he needs to successfully evade this monster, he is going to do it with his piece of cake. Yeah? So we get away from the monster. We didn't fail the escape check. He has made it to Cerbero Pharmacies. Brilliant. Because he didn't defeat this monster, he can't have the vivisection. He can't pick up the vivisection common task because he hasn't defeated it, but he has managed to evade it. So thankfully, because he had a rather funky luck card, he's going to play this, discard it, and we are going to evade this horrible monster. So that's a pretty good start. He's lost a luck card, but to be honest, to avoid that, you're just going to do it. Right, so we'll discard that. And he has managed to get to Cerbero Pharmacies. Woohoo! Our next player is Manifold. So she's going to do her movement now. So what's she going to do? Well, we've already got Slicer Takeda. He's looking for money, money, money. The common task, it'll just be completed by somebody who kills the first mutant. So hopefully an easier mutant than the last one we got. And I think the third one is the other of mutants and men. That requires quite a tough check. A blades and guns check. So probably we'll be looking at Zuma Jimbo for that one. He looks like the sort of guy who should be taking that on. So what we're going to do is let's get some stuff. So she's got the off-road. That will give her 4 movement because she's got the road map. So where was that bargain? There was a military bow, wasn't there? Here it is. There's a military bow that you can trade for. It's two-handed, it's a weapon, but there's some good stuff about it. Mainly, I mean, it does an extra damage, it's armor piercing, it's medium range, two-handed, but you also get plus die for your survival checks, and you do not need ammunition to use it. And, like we say, it's a red, and we can buy it for a yellow. Now, we don't have a yellow card, but we do have 3 green. I'm just going to check. I think 3 green can buy a red. I'm just going to check that. Yes, that's correct. We can discard 3 green cards. So let's get rid of the rad out, the extra bullets, and the medi shot. It's a good weapon. So let's have it. Get this good weapon, then if we ever bump into Zuma Jimbo, we can do a bit of a trade. give him that weapon and he doesn't have to use bullets. So it'd be a good thing for him to have. She's not going to do any of the tasks unless obviously she comes across a mutant and she has to fight it. So that's what we're going to do. She has got enough to buy this military bow, but she has to get to New Sydney. So 4 movement with the off-road, with a road map and 1 single fuel. Let's see how she can get there, and obviously with a minimum of wasteland cards. So let's get over to the board. And here we are with Mama. So she's here on Gangrene and she needs to get to New Sydney. Now it's a bit difficult to get to. Not so much in spending fuel, because there's a lot of zeros around here. So it's quite easy to get to from a driving point of view. Unfortunately though, there are loads and loads of these, obviously of these where we have to pull an extra card, an extra wasteland card. So the quickest way would be, let's get the tokens, let's do it right. Do it right, man. So let's get a few tokens. So that'd cost her nothing to get to there. And we'll pull 2 cards. There's the one for the symbol there. There's the one for the danger symbol that we're going to pull. And we're also going to pull 1 because it's the first hex that she moves in. So that's 2 wasteland cards. We go into here. Now that has got a contamination and a radiation, but they do not count while you're moving. Yeah, it's only if you stay on it on the hex. You've got to stay there for a certain amount of time for these to kick in. So if you're just moving through, it's not a problem. So no movement points, no movement points, and 1 movement point to get here. So that is the way that she is going to go. So that way we only have to pull 2 wasteland cards. If we went any other way, then we'd be in big trouble. Right, so she moves here and the waster pulls 2 cards. First one, we've got a wandering merchant. So stop immediately. You can perform a trade as if you were on a city hex. No good for us. We do actually want to get to Sydney. We have to get to Sydney to get that military bow. We cannot buy it from anywhere else. Okay. This is a general event. We've got that. I'll talk through some of the icons while we're pulling these cards. So essentially, you're making a decision. Are you going to trade with this guy? If you do trade with this guy, you've got to stop. So you will stop your movement. Right. The way to get around it is to do a talk. So you've only got to get 5. So it's green. It's pretty easy. So that is the first one. As the waster, that looks to me to be a bit of a doddle. So let's hope we get a worse one. A Slavers team. This looks more like it, don't you think? So the waster would look at this card. These are a cult, or are they a gang? They're a gang, sorry. So that's what this sort of chain ring means. They're a gang. And as you can see, they're a nice motley looking bunch. Obviously that's a slave there, and the one here, and they're pretty nasty. So Slavers team. At the end of any clash, you can discard any gear card to immediately end this combat. If you do, lose this combat. So you won't get the winning condition, but if you get rid of a gear card, it just means that, hey, got away, you dropped something, the Slaver team didn't bother running after you because they picked up your gear instead. Now, to get away with this, to evade them, you need to do a medicine check, which I think we might do. We are certainly not playing the Wandering Merchant. That is a bit too easy. So we will discard that. I'm now going to have a think, and I will be back with you shortly. Okay, I'm back. Don't really have any luck cards that'll help us. Now, let's just have a look at the sort of combat row here. There's you can't see it here, but there's a sort of thing called a ferocity diode. If that was light blue next to the 4, it means they're ferocious. These guys aren't. So they get 4 combat dice, which is nasty. They attack at long range and medium range. They have multi-shot, so they can multi-shot us. They have 1 armour and 4 health. Yeah. Now, we're early in the game, and I think we'd struggle to take these guys on, especially with Mama. Good old Zuma. I think Zuma would have a go at him, but Mama isn't. They're a gang. They're not even a mutant, and she has 3 medicine. So she has got 3 medicine, so she is going to go for that. So I'll get the dice tower, and let's do a roll and see if she can evade them. So here we are with the trusty dice tower. So we need a 7. So we need a 7 or better on 3 dice. Come on, Mama. Whoop. I knocked her over. And that's not good, a 3 and a 1. Yay, a 10. So on the final die, she got a 10. Whew. So she did manage to pass. She got a critical on her last die roll. So she has passed. So she successfully avoided the slavers. So that's pretty good. She's avoided her wasteland card, so we can discard that now. We can take that away, and it means she can carry on her movement. What it is we played it here. We only play 1, so pick that up, and we'll pick this up. Can't play another waster card, so she gets all the way to New Sydney, and it only cost her 1 movement point, but that is still going to cost her a fuel. So she goes down to 3. Good stuff, but she has actually made it to New Sydney, so that is excellent with that final die roll. What a star. That is it for Mama Manifold's movement. Let's go and have a look at Triple Jinx. And here we are with Triple Jinx. What's she going to do? Well, she can't really do the of mutants and men either, because it's that, you know, let's leave that for Zuma. Zuma's the, like, blade and gun nut. So, Triple Jinx, what's she going to do? Let's get that other cheap trade, which is at the pumps, which is the armour-piercing rounds. We'll get those. Perhaps those can be traded to Zuma as well at some point. But more importantly, both that and the military bow will get replaced after we buy them. So we will get other cheap stuff in there. So that seems like a good plan to me. So she's going to get to the pumps, and she's got a strider. She also got the roadmap, so she could move 5 anyway. So that seems to be the plan for her. The pumps is, I think it's it's yellow for green. So she's got, you know, she's got 3 things that she can trade for it. She's not going to have to trade everything like Mama Manifold is. So let's get over to the board. Let's see a movement. Let's plot it out, and let's draw those wasteland cards. And here we are with Triple Jinx. It's quite easy. We've got no like major horror stuff knocking around. Got a few of these danger skulls here, but we're not going to go that way. We're going to spend 2 to go through this sort of mountainous dune area, and then it's 0 to actually get to the pumps. So that's only going to cost us 2. So it's going to cost us 1 fuel, but I think we can afford it. Plus the fact she'll probably get a chance to refuel and everything in the sumps. So all that's left is to start a movement. So she moves there. We will draw 1 wasteland card because it is the first hex that she goes into. And we draw a stinker. This looks nice. This is ferocious. You know, I mentioned the sort of blue diode. That's it. He's ferocious. He's a mutant. So let's bear that in mind. And he looks quite easy. He gets 3 dice. He has to be, obviously, at melee range. So he has to be right next to you. He does do 1 extra damage. And he's got 4 health. So if you are wounded, this enemy's attack checks gain 2 dice. So we have to make sure we don't get wounded. To get past him, we need to do a medicine of 9. If we beat him, we get 1 yellow card, gear card. Plus, we would get that vivisection card if we manage to defeat him. I think we may be having our first combat. Let me have a think. I just want to check the cards and everything. I'll be back in a moment. And here we are at the combat. So I've just took her away from... We're going to play it... We've got to play it in this hex, which was the first one she went into, because the next one's the the pumps, and that's a sit-in. You can't do it there. So we pretty much have to play this straight away. So there's the stinker, and we have got triple Jinx here. Now she's going to be using a pump action shotgun, which can be used at both medium range and short range, and it gets +1 damage. I think it's +1 damage at short range, so that doesn't apply yet. So we're at medium range. We start at medium range, and the poor old stinker, he has only got a melee attack. So medium range will go before short range, which is melee. So that means that triple Jinx is going to go first. This will be a bit slow because it's my first combat, so I'm going to take my time. So she will get to go first. She's going to use a pump action, and obviously as the waster, he can only do a melee. They're at medium range, so he's stuffed as it stands. We determine the initiative, so obviously it's going to be triple Jinx first because she's got the medium range weapon, and we'll resolve the attack first. To resolve the attack, we have to make an attack check. Now to do that, we're going to have to spend ammunition. So we're going to spend 1 ammunition. So we're going to move it from 4, triple Jinx, over. In fact, perhaps I use her ammunition and not and not slice the Takeda's. I use her ammunition, which is obviously yellow. So that's going to go down to 3, because she's going to fire her pump action shotgun at medium range. And the pump action, she's got a guns of 3, so she will get 3 dice. And because it's medium range, she needs to get a 7. Now what we do now is we check things like luck cards or special abilities, just to check whether she gets any additionals. And I cannot see anything. So she could play Sweet Spot. That'd get rid of any monster's armour, but he hasn't got any, so it's not any use at all playing that. And Deep Pockets, we could freely re-equip our gear cards, but that's not very useful either. So we're not going to get any more dice. So we've just got the 3, and we have just got to get a 7, so I think that is it. Right, so let's roll. And then it's a bit strange how damage works, but we'll see after the roll, because she might not even hit. She has hit, but 1 fell out, and I'm hoping this doesn't knock that 0. It did knock it, but we got away with it. Right, so we got a 5, so that's not a hit, that's a miss. But the 8 was a hit, as was the 0, which is a 10, obviously on a 10-sided die. Right, so how does this work? If you get at least 1 single hit, that is 1 damage. So say we got 2 8s there, it would still be 1 damage, it wouldn't be 2 damage. In your check, you just check whether you hit or not. Doesn't matter how many successes you get, it's 1 hit and 1 damage, yeah? But if you get a critical, which is a 10, you get an additional for it. So we got 1 hit for 1 damage because we got a success. We got another success that was a critical, so that is 2 damage. So I think that's right. I'm just going to check that. Yes, that is right. She has done 2 damage. So that is great news. I don't think she gets +1 off the pump action shotgun. She only gets +1 off the pump action shotgun if she is actually sort of right next to her. I think we should have pulled a card. She's going to be blue, and obviously she was attacking. So you can tell that because like I just cracked on straight with it. She can't have multi-attack with the weapon she's got. She was going to attack because the stinker was at medium range. So that's what she was going to do. She wasn't going to defend because it couldn't get into range. And she wasn't going to change the range. Yeah. Because she was quite happy that it was quite far away. She wasn't going to run off. And she wasn't going to prepare or anything like that. She was going to attack, which is what she did. Now, the stinker, he was going to change range. That's all he could do. He was going to get close, yeah? He can only do melee damage. He has to change range to advance. So that is what he was going to do. So there we go. He was at change range. He was at attack. And it was attack for triple Jinx. Done that slightly out of order, but as you could see, that was, you know, it was quite an obvious thing for them to do. She was going to attack because she couldn't be attacked by the stinker because of the range, and the stinker was going to try and close. He was going to advance. Right, oh, let's just check again. Cool. Yes, that was right. So she attacked and he changed range. We are not changing the dominance marker. The reason for that is because he's ferocious. Remember that little diode? If you're ferocious, you just do not change the dominance marker. He's always going to attack. He's never going to run off. We're going to have to deal with him. So we either kill him, or he drives us off, or he knocks us out. So we've got to deal with him. Right, so that's the first part of combat. Coming up, the second phase of the clash, as it's called. Okay, quick check. I'm just checking I've done it right. I think I have done it right. Okay, right. We'll soon find out. I'm sure you'll tell me. Okay, so that's the end of the first clash. So we move to the second clash. Now, he has used his change range. So we are no longer at medium range. We are at short range. Yeah. So, what happens at short range? Well, we'll pick our cards. Now look at him. He's a stinker. He's ferocious. What's he going to do? He's not going to prepare. He's going to attack, man. He's already been hit for 2 damage. He's angry. He's going to go for it. So he is attacking. Again, role-playing this a bit. But it's a ferocious enemy. It's a mutant. He's been hit. He's not happy. He's going to attack. And we are going to attack as well. Because I think we've got a good chance at short range of getting what we need. So let's check the initiative. Right. So a short range gun will go first. Yeah? So we've got a short range gun in that we've got the pump action shotgun. It's short range, so we've actually got +1 damage as well if we manage to hit. And we will go first. So we have got a chance to drop this baby. And that's what we're going to do with any luck. So we need a 5 or better. And we get a 10. Hey, and a 5. So we've killed it. Even with the +1, yeah? So we got +1 because it was a critical. We got the 5, which was a normal success. So we've already got the required 2 to bring it up to 4 damage. And we got +1 because we've got the pump action shotgun. Basically, triple Jinx just blew it to bits. Absolutely marmalised it at close range. She winged it, it managed to run up, but before it could attack with its weapons, those claws, she absolutely blew its face off with a pump action shotgun. She has killed this. She's killed this mutant, which means we get, I'll move her back to where she should be. We'll zoom out. She can carry on a movement. And there we go, our first combat. Because we had initiative, because we had a gun, which had more initiative than the actual melee weapon of the Stinker, that means it actually got killed before it could retaliate. If we'd had equal initiative, then it'd have been a simultaneous combat and he'd have got an attack in, but he didn't, so tough. So he has been defeated. First things first, we've got to get ourselves a yellow gear card, which will be nice. So we'll take that off the stack. And we get Morphix, which is obviously some sort of medicine drug thing. Discard at any time. Until the end of this round, you ignore up to 4- dice in all your checks and rolls. Cool. Right, she's got that. So might come in, put that in a player area. She'll put that in a backpack. She has got 1 space left in there, so we'll put that there. That is cool. What else do we do? Ah yes, vivisection. Let's have a read of vivisection. So this task will be accomplished by the first knight to defeat any mutant enemy from the Wasteland cards. Woohoo! Wasters must play the mutant enemy cards if able. So it is fortunate when we had, who was it? Slicer Takeda. We really had to play that card anyway. We couldn't play the other one. The other one was just a beast. But the, what was it? The Shalobi was a beast and a mutant, so we had to play that anyway. So that was more luck than judgment, but it had to be played. Right, well, she gets 2 reputation. And she gets a red card. Woohoo! So that's pretty cool. Pick up the red cards. So here we are. An eraser. Wow, this looks pretty good. So again, weapon, obviously. Used at long range, 2 armor piercing, and it will automatically do a damage if we hit, an extra damage, 2-handed obviously. Eraser deals 2 damage for every 10 rolled. Beast card, we love it. What she's going to do is she's going to equip this. So she's actually going to put it over a shotgun. Oh, we'll put that card there. Cool. Right. So we've got the vivisection card, the Stinker card. Coolness. And let's move her up. So where's the yellow? That moves up to 2. So we'll put it there. And what else did we have to do? That is right, we have a token. So that was a common. So we've got one of our common tasks done. We've also, like, we'll denote common tasks with these. So where shall we have them? We'll have them down here. So that's one common task done, just to remind us. We'll have common tasks here and we'll have the private tasks there. Cool, so we've got 1 task. Excellent. So 1 task out of 12. She's got to continue her movement. So take that and take that. She goes to here. So she's in the pumps. And that cost her 2 movement. So she's going to lose a fuel. So she's on 3 ammo. Oh, she lost another ammo because she shot again. So she's down to 2 ammo. That's not too bad. She's still got extra bullets, if you remember. So she can replenish. And she might be able to actually resupply in the pumps later. Right, so there's our first combat. Groove it. I think I did it right. If I didn't do it right, please let me know. But I think that was right, apart from I didn't pull the cards at the beginning. But as I explained, they were pretty self-explanatory. She was going to attack, he was going to try and get in for a closer attack. Right, so that is Triple Jinx's go. Next up is Zuma Jimbo. And here we are with Zuma Jimbo, but we've got to do something very quickly. So, Triple Jinx, she managed to do the common task. So what we've got to do is get immediately replaced. Yep. So we draw 2 cards. So we'll draw the top 2. And we decide which ones to have. So there's a tactical retreat. So any idiot can get eaten by a rabid dingo, or die of thirst somewhere in the desert. Show me that you're not one of those fools looking for trouble all their life, and I will reward your your common sense. This task will be accomplished by the first knight to successfully escape 2 wasteland cards. Knights place their player markers on this card whenever they pass an escape check. And you get the turbo injector gear card, which is probably a really good one. The other one is Mission Improbable. We don't want any strangers around. Enough evil has happened outside. You need to make sure that everyone forgets about Red Tomb. Here's the launch codes. Use them well. This task will be accomplished by the first knight to explore Red Tomb and use the sort of explore on its hex. Yeah? So what's it called? Let's look it up. The special action, that's it. Use a special action on its targeting its hex. Then place the nuke marker on the active side up on the Red Tomb hex. So basically you're blowing Red Tombs up. You're blowing Allura up. So pretty cool. Now, we've got to decide what we are going to do. Now, I'm the waster, but I'm not playing another player. I'm sort of playing the game here. So what I'm going to do is, I do not want the heroes to win. So here they would get a turbo injector gear card. Now I don't know what that is, but it sounds pretty good. This one, all they get is 2. They get 2 reputation, and they don't get a gear card. So it looks to me like this is the better card. Yeah, all you're doing here is doing a bit of evading. Mind you, that might take time. That might take a bit more time. Whereas this one, you just get to Red Tomb and blow it up. Ah! But Red Tomb has got the second orange marker on it. So somebody has got to get there. So if it got blown up, if it got vaporised, it'd be out of commission for 2 turns, wouldn't it? Yeah? So it makes sense to do Mission Improbable. We cannot complete this common task until that private task has been done. Yes? So this makes it more difficult for the heroes to win the game. They are going to have to wait until that private task has been done. And we haven't even picked it up yet, because that is where Zuma Jimbo's going. So we're going to play Mission Improbable, because this means it cannot particularly be done next turn. So I think we're going to do this. 1, they don't get a turbo injector gear card. 2, it cannot be done that quickly because it's going to interfere with another private task that is ongoing. So we're going to play Mission Improbable. I think that makes it more difficult for us. Let us know if you don't agree, but that's the one that I'm going to use. So Mission Improbable goes on there, and we will use a purple counter, and we'll put that on Red Tombs. So Red Tombs has got a 2 for the yellow private task, and it's got a purple 1 for the common task. Tactical Retreat gets discarded. Very good. That seems pretty cool. think we discard this vivisection card as well. I think that gets... I don't think you keep it. It's not like Arkham Horror. You don't get to keep trophies. So we'll get rid of that as well. Righty-ho. Right, back to Zuma Jimbo. He's going to go to Carcassville. That's his plan. So, like I say, we've got to get 6 of these private tasks done. So let's crack on with them. The common tasks, as you can see, can be quite straightforward. So early on in the game, we'll try and get as many of these private tasks as possible. So he's got to get there. This Chop Chop card may help him. Let's just check it. During this move step, you can perform one special action from a hex through which you will move. If this hex requires an exploration check, you must pass this check. This is not considered a normal exploration. No, I think we'll keep that. We'll keep that. That might come in handy later on. So what we'll do is we just have to get to Carcassville. So let's have a look at the board. It's going to be a bit tricky, I think, but let's go and have a look. And here's Zuma Jimbo. He's here, and he's got to get to here. So he's got quite a bit of travelling to do, and it's pretty tricky. So if he goes the direct route, that's 2, 2, 2. That'll cost him 6 movement points. He's got an off-road vehicle, which gives him 3 movement, plus 1 for his road map, which is 4. So it would cost him 2 fuel to get to Carcassville. So, is there any other way he can go? Well, he could go... It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's even further. So, yeah, it's just as quick to go this way. And that way, he'll only get his first hex for his Wasteland card. So, let's get the markers and plot his route. So he's just going to head off through here, then through there, and into here. Okay, so Grassland, Queen's Valley, and then Carcassville. So that's his plan. So let's start the movement. Goes here. The Waster picks a Wasteland card. What do we have? We have a Cerbero C3D2, and this looks horrible. It's obviously it's a mech, and so it rolls 4 dice. Long range, medium range, short range. It's armor piercing. It's got 2 armor and 4 health. This enemy wins all initiative ties. So we've got a repair 7. If by some miracle we defeated it, we'd get 1 fame and 1 red card. Now, Jimbo is good, but I don't think he's that good. So I think, let's check his repair, which I don't think is that brilliant, to be honest. So it won't be a second. And here we are. I've had a look. I think he will struggle. So we're going to try and do the repair check. I think he's got 2 dice. He does. He has 2 dice to try and get away. None of his luck cards will help him, so it's just a 2 dice roll. So let's see if he can give this guy the slip. Because it's a bit tough. A 6 and a 2. No, he didn't. So let's have a look. That was a bit tricky, that. So the card just says the enemy wins all initiative ties. So is that it? Do I take any damage or anything? Let me just check. Of course it isn't right. I'm a donut. I was reading event cards, not enemy cards. This is obviously an enemy card. Right, it's failed. And the bad thing is, you look at what the rewards would have been, and the rewards would have been a reputation and a red gear card. That's bad news, because what that means, we not only lose 1 health, we'd have lost 1 health anyway because we failed an escape check at an enemy. We lose an additional 1 because it had 1 or more of these. So he loses 2 health, unfortunately. But I don't think we'd have been able to deal with it in combat. It was just unfortunate that we couldn't evade it. So we'll get rid of that. And I'll remember that for next time when you are evading. So he loses 2 health straight away. So he's down to 2. And that's also bad news, because it means he's got minus on his die rolls because he is injured. So he rolls 1 less die, which is a bit of a downer. But he can continue his move. Don't have to worry about any more Wasteland cards. So he gets all the way here to Carcassville. Now that cost him 6 movement. He can only move 4 on a fuel. So that costs him 2 fuel as well. So he is down to 2. So unfortunate. But he got a nasty card there and just wasn't able to evade it, unfortunately. Not nice to get something like that first movement. So anyway, he's got to Carcassville in the end. Right, I think that is the end of the movement phase. And here we are back at the board. So everybody's moved, and the next phase will be the exploration phase. Now it's got a bit late, so I'm going to stop it here. I will carry on tomorrow or the day after, but there may be a bit of a break in between the movement and the exploration phase. But this is where we're up to. So everybody has got to their destinations. There's only there's only Zuma Jimbo who's took a bit of a battering. Everybody else has done pretty well. So I'll go and upload this, and then next couple of days I will go on from the exploration phase. I may upload this and sort of we're halfway through the first turn. It is a bit slow because it's the first time I've played, so I've had to check a lot of stuff. So although the video might not be all that long, it has took me a couple of hours to get to this point because I've been checking rules and stuff. As usual, if I do upload this, if you spot any mistakes or whatever, give me a shout. Okay, so if I do upload here, thanks very much for watching. Thanks very much for all the subscriptions, and thanks very much for all the comments, the help, the support. It's very much appreciated. Thanks to everybody who's been over to Board Game Links to upvote the site. That's fantastic. And as I say, if it does end here and I upload this, I hope to see you for the exploration phase of Turn 1 of Waste Knights, Saviours of the Waste. Until then, this is me, Catweazle, saying toodaloo.